Hey guys, today's video is going to be Wyatt's 5-month update and mine as well. Just like in my last video, if I'm looking two different places, that's because I'm doing a little bit of a filming experiment with two different cameras. I have them kind of stacked in such a way that you can't see the other camera, I'm hoping. And I'm also in Max's room, which is a complete disaster, same as in my last video, because he has incredible lighting right now. I think it's because I'm filming a little later in the afternoon than I usually do, but where I usually film, the lighting is just terrible. And then in the kitchen is where I've been filming a little bit here and there is a ginormous pumpkin that I can't even lift on the chair that I usually sit in. So this is where I'm filming today. I hope you don't mind the mess in the background. I'm going to try my best to make it not so distracting with me looking in two different places. So like I said, today's video is going to be Wyatt's 5-month update and my 5-month postpartum update. I really didn't make a whole list. I have his 4-month update here in front of me, so I'm going to kind of build off these points and let you know if things have changed or remained the same. He hasn't made, a whole lot of changes in the last month, I don't really think, but as we go through, I'll probably find plenty of things to talk about. So he didn't have a doctor's appointment this month, of course. They have them at 2, 4, 6 months, and then I'm not really sure when the next one is after that. So he didn't go to the doctor's office to get weighed or anything, but he was 16.3 last month, and he's gotten quite a lot heavier. So heavy, in fact, he has pulled my back out. I must have picked him up really weird, and my back is definitely out of commission right now. So I would put him at almost 17 pounds. I haven't, weighed him myself on our scale either, but he is quite a big kid. He is in 12-month clothing now. His 9-month sleepers are too short, so I had to pick up a bunch of 12-month pajamas, which you would have seen in my thrift sale haul, which I'm glad you guys seem to really enjoy. It was something a little different for my channel, and I really like going to thrift sales, so maybe if that's something you would like me to incorporate a little more often, I would be more than willing to do that. But there I did pick up a lot of 12-month pajamas, because he had been growing out of the 9-month ones so quickly, and he doesn't really seem like he's that tall when you're holding him, but when he stretches out and is playing on his play mat, you can definitely tell he's probably going to be quite a tall boy. But when you're holding him, he's like a really solid kid. He is just a really big baby. I mentioned in my haul, I was like, your kid is really big when he's now 5 months. He turned 5 months on Monday, and he's in 12-month pajamas, but he's in the pajamas with like the non-slip feet on the bottom that are meant for kids that are walking so they don't slip on the floor, and like he's not even crawling yet. I just found that pretty funny. So a difference I do see here is Wyatt is now in size 3 diapers, and I will say that I am still preferring Huggies diapers over Pampers. We picked up a big box of Pampers at the grocery store because we had completely run out of diapers. I had like 3 left and I didn't even realize, and we were at the grocery store anyways, but the Pampers were like almost half the price as the Huggies ones were there. And they're the same at Walmart, but I couldn't make it over there, and I regret it so much. It totally depends on the shape of your baby as to which brand works better. Of course, Pampers worked way better on Max than Huggies did because he was a much more like skinny child, and Wyatt is definitely like a big chunk of a kid, and I just feel like the shape of Huggies works so much better. Plus the elastic on the tops of the Huggies one, it looks kind of like pants, and you like can pull it tight around them, and then it like kind of sucks them in a little bit, keeps poop explosions from happening. And since he has been back in the Pampers while we go through this box, because I need to use them now that I bought them, almost every time he poops it shoots right up his back, and so now he has a whole bunch of laundry that is stained. And I think it's just because the Pampers ones don't fit him as well. I feel like Pampers fits, you know, longer, lankier babies much better. Wyatt is tall, but he is quite chunky, and I feel like the Huggies brand just fits him better, and they are just what I have been preferring. So he has moved from size 2 to size 3 diapers. He is still sleeping through the night. He no longer naps in our bed though, because even when he was napping in our bed, I would build kind of like a pillow fort around him because he does roll over. So I, of course, didn't want him rolling off the edge of the bed. I didn't have um, like a rail or anything on the side of my bed, so I put pillows all the way around him. And before this, that was fine. He would like kind of roll into them and then move back to where he was, and it would keep him a little bit more centered on the bed. But I came up one time, and I tend to check on him about every 20 minutes when he was in the bed, just, you know, to be on the safe side. And he had rolled over and shoved off one side of my little pillow fort and had kind of scooched himself to the edge of the bed because he wanted the baby monitor that has a light on it. And when I came in, he was like this far from the very edge of the bed, like he would have fallen and probably hit his head off the end table. And I was like, yeah, okay, like you're done. You're not allowed to nap in there anymore. So he has been napping in his crib, much to his dismay. He really doesn't settle in there well. I think he loved the smell of Jeremy and I in our bed. And during the day, our street is very busy, and I'm sure you guys can probably hear a lot of the trucks and the trains, and there's cranes out there. It's very busy, and they do make a lot of noise. So I think that our smell kind of comforted him, and of course it's like a cushier bed, like our comforter and stuff, and he of course doesn't have all of that in his little crib because it's not safe for him to have it in there. So he really doesn't nap nearly as well in his crib. Another sleeping issue we've been having is his legs are so chunky when he like rolls over. If he happens to get a leg through the bars of his crib, it gets like really stuck in there. It wouldn't if he would just like pull it out gently, but he's 5 months old, like he doesn't do that, so he gets it stuck, and then he starts having a meltdown. I'm like running up the stairs, and by the time I get there, he has it wedged in there so tight. One day, it took me almost 10 minutes to get his leg out, and he is screaming, and he did get a little bit of a bruise, and I was this close to just pulling the bar off. I would have bought a whole new crib. I could not get his leg out. He had rolled over, and that's how his leg got stuck in there, but then he tried to roll back and wedged it up over his knee into his thigh, and then with all of the flailing and going on, it was like it was stuck in there. I was either going to call Jeremy and make him come home from work and help me because he works less than a kilometer away, but he would still have to leave work, and I'm sure his bosses wouldn't really appreciate that. Or I was going to break the rail off the crib because I was starting to get panicked, which was making the whole situation worse. But I eventually did, of course, get his leg out. But you don't want to just pull, like it was up over his knee. I didn't want to injure his knee. That's a very important joint on your body. And I didn't want to risk like popping his leg out of the socket or anything. So that did scare me. I'm thinking of getting breathable bumper pads or whatever you call them on the crib. I feel like he's still a little bit too young for like the decorative nice bumper pads that they sell in like the crib sheet sets, because those are still a suffocation risk. But I think maybe a breathable bumper pad would help that if his leg did go through over the top, it wouldn't be able to go through all the way to over his knee because he wouldn't be able to slide it down all the way, is what I'm thinking. If you have experience with this, definitely let me know in the comments below. He has been improving greatly with the reaching and grabbing for toys, and now he not only kind of like touches your face, which I think I talked about in a different update video, but he like will open your mouth and like kind of touch your teeth and your tongue, and he's like just really interested in how you make facial expressions. He's not at the stage where he copies your facial expressions yet, but that's such a cute stage. I can't wait. But he's definitely kind of like, oh, this is your nose, oh, that's a tongue, your teeth, and like I'm telling him these things as he's touching them, and he pulls in your ear. He is much easier to make laugh now. I think he's getting a little bit more of an outgoing personality. We'll see how that develops, but previously I talked about he's very reserved. He doesn't really have like a serious look on his face all the time, but he was very difficult to make laugh. He would kind of smile and smirk at you, but he would be shy. So with strangers, they could get him to smile, but then he would always kind of like snuggle into me. Or if people like get right in his face to talk to him, he will like turn away. And he really didn't like to be held by other people, which I'm trying to kind of get him out of that habit, because nothing is worse than needing or wanting to go out. If you want to go out on a date or something and having a baby that just will not be with anybody else but you. So I definitely want him to get a little more comfortable being around other people. Not that I plan on leaving him anytime soon, but it's definitely something I want him to work on, is being a little bit more social. He still sucks his thumb more than last time, but he also will suck these two fingers. He doesn't really seem to have a preference. He still gnaws on his whole fist. He just likes to have something in his mouth, I guess. We have been reading, and he likes to turn the pages of the board books. He is still rolling over, but he can now roll over from both sides as far as I can tell, and he still like spins in a circle, and he pushes himself backwards a little bit, not super consistently. I wouldn't say he's really that close to crawling. Some babies go from like going backwards to army crawling to full on crawling really quickly, but I don't think he's there yet. But he will push himself backwards, and he will push himself like up against the heater or his play mat if I have the toys laying down, and then kind of like push off of them and go. But I don't really think that's much of a like cognizant, like I'm going to back up against this thing so I can go forward type of thing. I think it's just some random flaily movements still at this point. He kicks his right leg almost constantly, like kick, 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 and then every once in a while he kicks his left leg. And that's the way he will roll from his back up onto his left side and over more often than not. And my aunt mentioned that that has to do with the leg kicking. That's the one that's like kind of kicking him over most of the time. But he does go both ways, but definitely like rolling onto his left side way more often. And now in the last few days, actually, he has been doing a similar thing with his arm, with his right arm, especially while nursing. He kind of like hits me very gently, and it's not malicious obviously, but as he's nursing, he's kind of like hitting me with a little bit of force. He's not just kind of like reaching, but like swinging his arm back and forth. So I have noticed that. I think that's just about everything for Wyatt's update. I can't really think of anything else that is new. Of course, if things are not written down, then I completely forget to talk about them. I'm not going to be doing a postpartum like belly shot or anything. Um, Nothing has really changed. My weight has gone up, which I talked about in my last video, which kind of ties into why I'm doing the no pop challenge. I've been really struggling with losing the baby weight. I'm wearing a dress also, which is another reason. So there's really not much to update you guys on that. My belly looks worse than the month before, which is kind of why I make these updates, that a lot of people I have watched their postpartum updates seem to lose the weight very quickly and very easily, and with no real diet changes and no real exercise. And that's obviously their reality, but that's not the reality for everyone, and I am really struggling this time around. I don't know if it's a second baby thing. I lost the weight really easily, again, with no real exercise with Max, and I did have like a bunch of excess skin. I had like that pooch or whatever they call it of skin, but like I was still small, and even like you get those memories popping up on Facebook, and it just makes me feel even worse. I'm like, wow, I was, 6 months postpartum from Max in this picture, and I was way smaller than I am now, and I just had to stop looking at them because I am really struggling this time around. I'm not exercising at the moment because I did hurt my back. I tried to back up a little bit. I joined the Tone It Up 21 day fall, whatever they're calling it, and I did one circuit of the daily moves. You're supposed to do 3 circuits of these 5 moves. And I did one yesterday. Monday I didn't do it because that was Canadian Thanksgiving, but Tuesday I did it. It was the second day and I damn near died. It was so hard and I really hurt my back again still. It was feeling a little bit better and it's pretty sore again today. So that probably was a really horrible idea. So I'm just going to kind of take exercising off the table and focus on eating better a little bit. I'm doing some light walking, which is helping, I hope. But yes, I'm really struggling with losing the baby weight. And winter is coming, so I'm kind of worried with how that's going to affect everything. Getting married in a year, so I have to really work on losing this weight and keeping it off because I want to look hot in my wedding dress, you know? My hair is growing back. I have my hair parted more to the side again, today at least. And all this is new growth. It's all very short, as you can see, but it's growing back very quickly. So I'm hoping it continues to grow, and I'm really happy with how it's growing in. So now when my hair is up, I mean, you can tell obviously it's much thinner still around my hairline, but I'm not so embarrassed because like I said, this is all bare skin. I was so self-conscious about it, but that is growing back. I am still, on a more day-to-day basis parting it more in the middle than I have it today. Super TMI information coming at you. So if you don't want to, I've said this in other like pregnancy updates and stuff. If you're not interested in knowing some intimate details about my body, then please skip ahead a little bit. But in the spirit of being, open and honest with how postpartum life is, today I did start my period again. So Wyatt is 5 months and 2 days now, I believe. I think it's the 11th today. Who knows what day it is? When you're a stay-at-home mom, like, you don't know what day it is. That's what I feel like anyways. I think he's about 5 months and 2 days, and I do breastfeed, so it's taken until now. So I do have my period back, I guess. I'm sure it's not going to be regular at this point, but that is the thing that happened today. I didn't stop. If you've been watching my postpartum updates from the beginning, I didn't stop like the post-delivery bleeding until about 12 weeks, I think, was it? So it really didn't stop all that long ago in the grand scheme of things, like about 2 months or so. But yeah, I know some people it doesn't come back for over a year, but doing some research, a lot of people get it back between 4 and 6 months. Seems a lot of things happen between 4 and 6 months. Your baby starts, doing some army crawling, sitting up, starting solids. That's something I didn't tell you guys. Okay, Wyatt is super interested in food to the point of screaming if you don't share with him at the table, which of course, like, I don't give him a pizza if we're having pizza, but at like each bite you take, he follows the food and he's reaching and he wants it. And if he's on your lap, like, forget about it, you can't eat. He will pull things out of your mouth, or at least try if he was a little more coordinated. So I plan on giving him cereal for the first time in the upcoming days or the next week or so, because we kind of skipped that step. But I think I'm going to like mix him up a bowl and have him sit in like his bumbo or something and have it at, where he can reach it, and let him just play with it, because he does like to get his hands in his mouth so much. I thought if he could like touch it and feel the consistency and suck it off his fingers, that would be a little better than trying to like shovel it in his mouth, especially since I want to be breastfeeding for as long as possible. And I've heard kids that get solids too early kind of wean themselves off earlier. So we'll see how that plays into it. But while we were having Thanksgiving dinner, everyone was eating except for him, and he was having like a huge meltdown. So I let him have apple slices, just like as they were as apple slices, and then I just let him suck on it for like a minute, and then I'd take it from him because I didn't want to get it mushy and have him, actually taking bites out of it, but like a super hard apple, and he was just like licking the apple juice off it really, and he loved it, and he would scream when you took it from him until you gave him a new one. And it didn't upset his belly or anything. And I know you should start with vegetables and stuff first, but I wasn't feeding him in such a way where he was actually getting much like sustenance from it. Like, he was just licking the apple, really. He had it in his own hands, and he was kind of like putting it in his mouth. I was holding it too, or Jeremy was holding it too. We kind of traded off, of course, because I didn't want him to inhale an apple slice. But he was holding onto it with both hands and kind of like gnawing on it, but he has no teeth or anything, so no chunks were coming off, and he loved it. So I think he's going to really love having cereal. There's a tow truck. So I'm really excited for him to have cereal, and I will be filming it, and so you guys can see how excited he gets too. So I think that is everything. Anything I think of, maybe we'll do some vlogging or something. We'll see how that goes. So yeah, I don't know why I'm extending this outro any longer than it needs to be. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Again, I'm sorry for looking in 2 different places. I'm hoping that I finally figure out a way to film my freaking videos, because I'm sick of going back and forth and having either me looking like an Oompa Loompa or having black edges on the sides of my screen. It's driving me bonkers. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave, because like I say in all of my videos, once we hit 100 subscribers, there will be a giveaway on this channel, and the same goes for my beauty channel. It'll be a separate giveaway once that channel hits 100 subscribers. So if you like makeup as well, you can go over there and subscribe and have a chance to win a giveaway over there as well. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!